The future will definitely be more and more fragmentation and re-aggregation. What I mean is this. It used to be a couple people were your target group as a broadcaster, maybe 3 or 4 people. Then all of a sudden, 10 years ago, they started looking like this to where they had more overlaps. Maybe the older guys were also looking at internet now or doing other things on digital radio. Now it looks like this. All of a sudden, your target groups are completely fragmented. People use 30 different devices, 30 different platforms, and you have to split up and cover them all. And what's worse is that the hit is disappearing. The hit show, the hit song, the hit book. Because people have more choices. They spread out. It will be impossible to be as famous as Elton John 20 years from now in that long lifetime, if he is famous. I guess he still is. Shows my age talking about Elton John. But in any case, I think what we're seeing now is this fragmentation. And here's a great video by David Lynch talking about fragmentation, right? He basically looks at mobile phones and movies, and he gives us a short comment, which I find quite interesting.
Now, if you're playing the movie on a telephone, you will never in a trillion years experience the film. You'll think you have experienced it, but you'll be cheated. It's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your fucking telephone. Get real.
That's his opinion. You know, and there will be so many people who would wholeheartedly agree. But go to Korea, every single person in the subway is watching a movie on the cell phone. Go to India. If people have any money, they buy a mobile phone. What they do, they watch clips or download icons for, for the screen. Right? Different people will like different things. Now, as broadcasters, what do you do with this? All of a sudden, you've got this far to cover, not just this far. So what we're seeing here is trends in general in society that we can see are moving from centralized and physical, which is the record store or the video player or the television. They're moving into digital and decentralized. This is happening everywhere, in banking, in travel, in blogging, of course. And it's not just that, it's also content and media moving in this direction. This is difficult. I have no solution for these business problems. Well, I'm trying to work on them, of course. But this is very difficult to figure out how do we get from A to B, because physical media is easy to sell. We were used to selling units, CDs, DVDs, whatever, software, right? Now you are going to move, as a broadcaster, over here, and maybe there'll be a few satellites left down there that you have to also cover. But this is inevitable. We need to learn how we get from A to B. We need to embrace it because there's no other choice. Everything is moving in this direction. Now, I'm sure you're going to say, wow, you know, this is just all crazy because I can't deal with all these things. These shifts are huge, not just in your personal life, but in your business life. And some people talk very fast now. Some people are really overwhelmed with the speed of things. I mean, that's obvious, right? Because it's all happening at the same time 10 years after or 15 years after Netscape and the internet explosion. Now things are speeding up like crazy. I mean, if you look at what's happening out there in terms of how many films, how many movies you can watch, how many TV shows are on the web now, it's just crazy. Every day there's something else. So how do we deal with this? Stephen Weiswasser of ABC just said last year, you aren't going to turn passive consumers, that's you supposedly, into active trollers on the internet. He basically said that people aren't going to switch using the internet because they're couch potatoes. They're lazy. And of course, if I remind you in 1925, the guy saying that you touched the radio dial, right? Well, not true. Turns out 50% of people are ready to jump at something that's interactive, that's a bit more work maybe, but that's a huge number. In terms of attention, it's a huge number. In terms of what's being diverted. Now this chart sort of shows what's called the sharing culture. I'm sure many of you have experienced this. You end up from the passive contribution, which is reading or listening or watching, to the active contribution, writing, changing, making. All of a sudden, my mother says, I wish I could upload this image, but she doesn't even have a computer. She wants to share stuff. Right? She thinks it's just a natural process. Right? Give kids these tools in this box, the Mac or any other, all of a sudden they start changing images and uploading and sharing them. That's what it's supposed to do. And this process is happening very, very quickly. We're moving at pretty fast speed into this. This is Indonesia. Kentucky Fried Chicken is the biggest promoter of music in Indonesia. Right? Talk about role changes. A chicken frying company is in the music business. Right? Why are they? Because it's a huge opportunity for them to get to the consumer. All of the telecom companies will move into film and TV. There's already every single telecom in Europe negotiating for a flat rate license for the use of music. Flat rate means you sign up for Vodafone or T-Mobile or whatever, the music is included. Right? That's already happening. It's happening in France, and it's kind of ugly still and doesn't really work. But this is where we're going. I'm going to sign up with T-Mobile, and all my music use is legal and free. Or what I like to call feels like free. In other words, I won't know I'm paying. And why do we have this? Because big brands like Kentucky Fried Chicken are going to go in on these deals. These brands are spending $750 billion a year on marketing. What's a better place to market than music or motion pictures or culture, in parentheses? That's where the money will come from. We have legal challenges. As Larry Lessig says, who owns culture? Who gets to sell what I remix? If I upload an image, who gets to use that? If I put a song onto my wedding video, is that legal? Right? I think it's more a question who owns content, who owns ideas, and then I think most importantly for you guys, who owns trust and attention? That is the key question. The billions of people, who do they trust? Do they trust you as the public broadcaster? Do they trust Google, eBay, Amazon, me? Who do they trust? That is the key question, because trust really is the question what it all comes down to. Think about that. The only universally trusted industry in the world is technology, worldwide. That's what people trust. Imagine what is the most hated company in America in 2007. It's not Halliburton, who makes the oil pipelines and the equipment of war. It's the Recording Industry Association of America. It's the record labels. They've won the contest of being most hated. That's not a good thing. Right? You can imagine for obvious reasons. So, the 9 Inch Nails. They came up with a trust model that said free downloads, as it says here, and they used trust as a key to success. Free downloads or the box set, the Ultra Deluxe $300 edition, sold out. If you work with trust and not with control, that's where the new money is. You can imagine from your own life, if somebody comes to you and gives you ludicrous control proposals, such as downloading music that's protected so you can't make a ringtone. What do you tell them? You tell them to bugger off, go somewhere else. You don't buy. This is what happened in music until now. So if we look at this, we can put it together with technology and we can say, okay, once technology becomes really simple, this is an old fax machine or with a hand dial. Once it becomes simple like this, or car navigation, once looked like this, now looks like this and costs 100 euros. Once it becomes really simple, it just takes off like this. Every single car rental company now has car navigation as a default. Everywhere you go, people are using car navigation. The fax, of course, is already old now. When it takes off, it really takes off. And this is the place that we're at right now. We're seeing this curve explode in terms of use. And the next thing is recording stuff in digital quality. There's already telephones in Africa, Nokia phones that cost, I think, 14 euros. And they can make DVD quality recordings, audio and video. The readable book, the e-book, which is coming, paying without any cash, and of course, handheld computing and iPhone applications. These are the next big thing. Right now, they're all very geeky. But give it 2 years, every single person will be getting used to paying with the mobile, making high-quality recordings, reading books, and so on. What does that do to your idea of broadcasting?